The Victorian government is planning to knock down the inner city public housing towers. In making these decisions, the Victorian Labor Party didn't go to public housing residents who live in these areas, academics who specialise in these fields. No, instead, Victorian Labor went to real estate consultants, investors, and property developers. Now, after this news broke, there was a push in the Victorian Parliament to get a publicised inquiry into this matter. And of course, Victorian Labor didn't want a public inquiry to investigate their policy. But now, thanks to the incompetence of the Housing Minister, Harriet Shing, we now have an inquiry which publicly looks into this stuff. Now, the hearings of the inquiry are live streamed, they are publicly available, but the recordings aren't. And so I want to give a recorded, documented evidence of the voices the Victorian Labor Party didn't want to hear. So today, here are residents from the Carlton Public Housing Estate for the first time talking directly to the government and telling them how it is.
Now I'm going to invite you each to make an opening contribution of around 5 minutes. If you've decided who's going to go first,
All right, I'll go first. My name is Catherine Sabalas and I'm from the Carlton Estate. I come in solidarity to discuss the topic that's causing so much heartache and stress for our residents in public housing. I've lived in Carlton since 1980, and I have seen the beautiful trajectory of people that come and go. Each one has played a part in our community. Our homes have been made for one purpose, and that was to build homes for the needy, the low of income, and they were built large enough to be for our large families. Our buildings are rich in history of all Australians, migrants, immigrants and refugees that are present, those who called and call our homes, our places home. Men, women, children, large families, young and old, have put their differences aside, broken down cultural barriers, put religion views aside to build a holistic community, to build a rich and diverse community where our children can play safely without any stigmas or feeling less of. We are a people of various ethnicities, various faiths, statutes, and walks of life, past and present. All of them have placed a stamp in our community and have helped us build what we have. We are multicultural, Hispanic, European, Middle Eastern, Asian, Polynesian, African, First Nation, Australian people who have built our community, not the government. We carry history, we carry stories, and all of us have come from some war-torn country or some country with an issue, and have come with a common goal, to seek a place to call home and a place to belong. These buildings were established not only to address the housing shortage and the affordability issues in the 1940s, what we face today, but the Commonwealth Housing Commission, established in 1943, and promoted the idea that all Australians have the fundamental right to housing. That is what I'm here to defend. And I stand here next to her and everybody else, and we speak for all the estates in Victoria. My apartment is not a residential address. It's not just that. It is my sanctuary. It is my security. It embodies my identity as an Australian citizen. It is the foundation helps me call this country home. Now, Housing Victoria has violated that. It has violated our rights, our sense of belonging, and the years of work that we as a community have built to establish the communities that we have today. They have come with this great idea to demolish old buildings and make them more efficient. They've come with a plan to destroy what we and the past people before us have built. Not only are they planning to build something that's visually pleasing, but with no depth, but they are going to restrict it as social housing. Now, I'm not sure whether any of you come from public housing, but I know we do. And there's a great big difference to all those that are not aware. Social housing is very different to public housing, and it is not public housing. It's a different ballgame. Many ones that many of our communities don't know and have not been educated about. It comes with its own terms, discriminatory terms that many of us will not meet and cannot meet. The financial costs that it requests of us is not the same what public housing demands of us. or expects of us. There is flexibility in public housing where we all can live comfortably. For that reason, I come before you. I come to save public housing, I come to save the land, and I come to save the system. Not only for myself and those that live with me right now and around me, but all those to come, because there are coming. This nation, there are financial issues in this country, and we need to acknowledge them. And public housing plays an extremely important part in this. Homes Victoria plans to integrate people with various economic status to build their vision of inclusive community. This demonstrates the disregard and the disconnection they have to our community. I would advise any of you to go and sit at 38 Elgin Street at the park there. Sit down and see this social experiment that they've done and see how it does not work. The children that play there are public housing children. The family that actually interact there are public housing residents. There is no interaction. Carlton used to be diverse, rich, of diversity and inclusive. And that section of Carlton is not that anymore. I'm not sure if you have a history of what we've all gone through, but much like Carlton and Kensington in the 80s and 90s, we were enriched with culture. And then that, got remodeled in the 2000s and it was destroyed, never to be the same again. Kensington is not what it used to be. And neither is Carlton. To build community, you need to involve community. You need to discuss first and then work together in building something new. Homes Victoria did the opposite. They, in their ignorance, took upon themselves to think for what was best for us and plan for us. This, with no regards or insight of what it means to be a public housing resident, of the struggles and the challenges we face. And it's not the way our building looks, I can assure you. It is affordability and it's space. And this is what they're trying to take from us. They had the audacity to ask us and try to persuade us with air conditioning and the efficiency of a new building. Now they're in the situation that they're in, where they're evacuating physically and forcefully people, our community, at a time, and I'll say this in their behalf is reckless, arrogant, foolish, undermining and insulting. In a time when there is so much insecurity, trauma and displacement in the world, in a time where there's so much financial crisis across this country and it's escalating, it is not a time for anyone in this country, particularly the low income, to feel insecure, ignored, discriminated and marginalised. It is not a time to be stripped away from our sense of belonging to this great nation. We need to come in and stand in solidarity and defend and preserve the legacy left behind by all those people that carry the heavy burden and the stigma put on society on public housing. We need to fight for the community they raced to build that I live in now. And this is why I'm here, to stand up for them, to stand up for myself, for our families, and for all those to come. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Catherine. I understand that Ruth is in the room with us as well. Would you like to come up please come up, and whilst you get settled in, I'll invite you, Reem, to say a few words.
Hi, I'm Reem, and I'm a resident of 33 Alfred Street building. These buildings, public housing buildings, or what we call flats, have long been seen by the state as an eyesore, unsafe, and not aesthetically pleasing against Melbourne's backdrop. But to me, to us, as a child of Black African Muslim immigrants who was born and raised in both Flemington and North Melbourne, these buildings are home and make Melbourne a place I am proud to be a part of. These buildings are places of survival and belonging, especially for people who have always been pushed to the margins. Despite the decades-long government neglect, which was deliberate in order to make these buildings appear unsafe and beyond repairable, community and residents still thrived. We support each other through this government's neglect, through crisis, and through deep orchestrated uncertainty. The long-term disinvestment and neglect is now being used as a justification for demolition. The government is telling us that this is about safety, about renewal and increasing housing, but I fear it's about profit for them. This is evident with the government announcing that the 3 buildings in Flemington, North Melbourne being demolished will not have any public housing stock present. Many have celebrated this announcement, saying it's progress for Melbourne, but these demolitions don't feel like progress, it feels like erasure. I also want to highlight that these demolitions should not be seen in a vacuum. They are part of a legacy of harm, abandonment, violence inflicted by these systems of the state against my community. In the 2020 hard lockdown, we were locked in without warning or support. No services came, we were the first responders. Residents and volunteers organised healthcare, food and welfare checks, while loved ones risked COVID and police violence to get supplies in. We built our own crisis response while the state sent police instead of care. We've been racially profiled, over-policed, surveillanced, and spoken about like we're a burden rather than people who belong, who have families, and who contribute to the wider Victorian community. And this is not happening on neutral ground. These towers stand on unceded Aboriginal land. First Nations people have experienced generations of forced removal, surveillance, displacement, and often in the name of development, public order, or progress. Their legacy hasn't ended. Today, First Nations, Black, Brown, migrant, and working class communities are facing similar patterns of dispossession under new names and new policies. The announcement of the redevelopment of the 44 towers is most recent of this. From the outset, this announcement was made without warning. The relocation process also feels rushed and confusing. It's also been coercive and lacked consultation. People are being told different things from different Homes Vic staff. We are being pressured to accept housing that doesn't meet our needs, far from our doctors, our schools, our mosques, and our community-based support networks. There's no consistency, no transparency, and it leaves many of us feeling anxious and pressured. The shift from public housing to social housing is a part of that erasure. It allows the government to quietly dismantle public housing while masking it in softer language. But what is being offered is often privatised, insecure, and far less accountable. We know the difference and we feel it. This shift lets the government offload its responsibility to provide long-term stable housing and avoid direct accountability whilst mitigating risk. This isn't a failure of policy, it's a continuation of policy in Victoria and wider Australia that strips agency from Black, First Nations, poor, and working class people, so its actual policy is working as it is intended in this country. My experience living in these flats was that it really gave me a sense of community, identity, and understanding the world was bigger than myself. I wouldn't be the woman I am now. I would not be so grounded in my values and principles of care, compassion, justice, and love if it was not for the way the people, specifically Black women, raised me in these flats. Housing is beyond infrastructure. It's about stability, memory, safety, connection, and the possibility to live with dignity. When governments tear down housing without care, without listening, and without a commitment to build something just, they are not just removing buildings, they're cutting into the roots of our communities. And every time they do, they make it clear what they value: land, profit, control over the lives of those they have always pushed to the margins. We deserve better than this. We deserve housing that is public, not privatised, housing that is permanent, not temporary, housing that is improved with us, not done to us. The government has the resources, the land, the responsibility to invest in real public housing, not demolitions disguised as progress, not social housing that erodes security, but true, accountable public housing that centres dignity, community, and care. We're not asking for charity. We're not demanding justice for we are demanding justice for the communities who built these flats, who survived the neglect, who raised generations of children here, and who deserve to stay. If the government truly cares about safety, belonging, and equity, it starts with protecting, investing, and expanding public housing, not erasing it.
Thank you, and welcome, Ruth. I'll ask you first, if you can please, to state your full name for the Hansard record.
Okay, my name is Ruth Ayakem.
Thank you very much. And do you have any opening remarks as well?
Pardon?
Do you have any opening remarks? Anything you'd like to say at the outset?
Yeah.
Yep. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you for you guys come and hear us. And what I want to say is the public housing is as part of our life, our community, and our mental health, because we are together and feeling home and supporting each other, community, and a lot of activity we do at the part of the aged elders, mothers and children's, and that was like home. And now, as all of a sudden, they come and separating us everywhere. That's a big mental issue for us, and a lot of elder people can't afford the separation and let it go the housing benefits as well. And a lot of people we live here is disadvantaged people, but our children is very educated. We teach them manner, we teach them religion, we teach them everything. They are lawyers and doctors and handies and everything. They giving to the Australia back what they give it to them. So, and now is the people live there to take them away from the house is like shocking. And as I see a lot of elder people that are not accepted, it's very sad, and they don't know what they're gonna be the new house, and the beneficial of the government help, and all been taken away from them, as I've been told. So they've been in shock. So I'm like, on behalf of them, it's very cruel. Australia is very supported, very giver, and all of a sudden come to us, knock our home on our head. It's not fair. And as I see, as a developed country, been traveling a few around the world. So like when my family are there, the housing commission is still there in the middle of the city. For example, in America, I went, so they're giving the old service, part of one of the developing country is sign. So we come in here for better life, for better relief from the war, from all trauma. So, and after we're living very nice and happy and together, taking away our home is very sad and unfair. And the new community is like a studio. It's not a house. Very suffocated. The room had no space. I saw it, and it's unfair. It's like a student's dorm or some studio for the office or something like that. Not a home. As African, we like to gather. We like to come, our grandchildren together, our cousins or family member. Where are we going to sit? There's no dining room. There's no some space for that to be having as an before what we have there in the public housing. And also the safety is so many houses they already moved, they get robbed, and just some robbery come when I'm sitting, jumping to the sitting room, and this is scare them, and they already tell the people they responsible, but nothing happened for them. The security is bad, and everything is it's not safe, and they don't know each other. The neighbors, they don't know who's they bring in within a family, other used people or some, maybe I heard some come from prison out, so your neighbor. So these things, it makes them scared. And all what we ask is, we need the old house is been excellent, nothing wrong with it. We are very happy. We need to keep it, that one. and we need to be public housing. The bill is high to the roof. We're complaining for that. We are comparing for houses, a way high bill they have. So as soon as they get in there, everything change. And a lot of people that the mental health is not good for them. So I hope these things, Australian government give it back again, think about it one more, and give a chance for our people, what they have, the house, not to knock it, and keep the housing, the public housing, and let people happy, let people feel Australian, and not being isolated, or they don't hear the voice. Like, sorry, but my English is not that much good, but
Great.
yeah, we want to hear our voice, and we want to be at least in the corona. What happened? We never been heard, and a lot of bad things happening. I don't want to go there, but this time we want you to hear us. We want you to be feel us as a part of Australian, and show us our rights, show us our power, and please leave this public housing as it is. Thank you very
Ruth.
much.
Thank you each for your opening remarks. We will now go to some questions, and I think, as you put it, Ruth, it's very important that we hear from you. So we do have a bit less time for our questions. I'll start with myself, and something that, in fact, two of you in particular mentioned, Catherine and Ruth, you talked about what the importance is of a home. So for Ruth, you said it was about a dining room, having people in. I think for you, Catherine, you talked about the community spaces around. If I can put out broadly to you, what is the most important thing that makes a home, and what is it that you want to keep special, whether it is in a new build or an existing, or what is the most important, I guess, tangible thing that is home for you?
Okay, home for us, it means maintaining.
Oh, good, Ruth.
Maintaining, I guess, the size that we have.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you guys have seen Carlton. I'm sure whether you have ever entered a public housing apartment.
We have.
They're quite spacious. They're quite, COVID was the perfect opportunity for us to really get creative and use every space available, especially people that have 4+ children. You got to use every nook, and we were able to, and we lived comfortably. So when you look at the new modifications of what an apartment looks like for us, they don't fit the mold. Our families are large. Our children are tall. Look around you. Our brothers and sisters from Africa and so forth, their children are tall. So the tiny bedrooms that are confining themselves into, the spaces they're cutting down to make it more efficient, open, beautiful spaces, they don't necessarily fit our mold. We have in some of the cultures around me, we have people that cannot be in the same room as the counterpart, as their spouses and so forth. They share in different due to their culture. That was never being taken part. So they've built open spaces and not taken into regard our cultural background, who we are as a people. And this is what to me was really, really unacceptable. You want to be a coach, you want to be a community, you want to redo. Why are you not hearing? Why are you not asking? Why are you going backwards? That's what. Space is important. And follow space, affordability. That's important to me. But space is one of the biggest things that I think we're all in agreement that is quite important.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to add something. As Australia is about multicultural. And where is the multicultural? We have our culture, gathering is very important. We gather, that's our life, part of our soul. So where we going to gather? There's no more community meeting area, which is we celebrate birthday, Christine, and grieving, and small gathering. We have that in the previous one, the old housing commission, but the new one, there's nothing. And we like to sleep, our children sleep at the weekend together. And that's not enough for the people, they leave themselves. So it's very suffocated. I call it suffocated. The first time I went there to see it, I was going as a community member with some people to see it without any furniture, I say, this is not a home. Where are we going to put our furniture? Where? Our part of our history, we're going to put some stuffs. This is by itself is like one bed, that's it.
Yep.
You can't move. And
So I'm hearing space.
Yes,
Yes.
Clear, yep.
It's
My time has
Matchbox.
expired. I'm going to have to be tough on everyone, including myself. Dr. Heath.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what? I'm happy to listen so you can pass on to somebody.
And then most of the houses, 90%, doesn't have dining room at all. There's no such dining room. And a small couch, one couch and TV, that's it.
Thank you. Miss Gray Barberio.
Oh, thank you. Catherine, you said in your submission, we are the face of immigration in this nation, the face of diversity. The fact that this has been ignored for too long, we have been stigmatised, stereotyped and disregarded by the government. Do you think this plan is discriminatory?
100%. When you come into our community, after what you did with COVID, and you come into our community and show us a pamphlet of what you think our lives should look like, mind you, the posters didn't even identify who we were. They identified with the families of 2.5 children. I think so. I think that Homes Victoria has had plenty, amples of time to discover who we are as a people. Fitzroy, Collingwood, North Melbourne, Flemington, and all the others around, they all are unique in their own special way. And they haven't taken the time to get to know us, to ask us, to inquire. So I would say that, yes, we are marginalised. We are put in a jam-packed box and, and presume that this is what we want. And they came in like Willy Wonka with a golden ticket thinking that we want some efficiency. We want air conditioning. That was what they were selling. And they came, and I'm sure whoever was present on the first meeting that we had in the Carlton residency, they booked a tiny room, undermining the fact that the majority of the housing people would be concerned, and jammed us all in there with no sufficient translators. People were talking over each other. We couldn't really talk. It was jam-packed. It was just a horrible situation to be in when you have people that of all age groups scared. When there's a when there's a language barrier, there's fear. And they had no answers for us. I do really believe that they're ignorant. I do really believe that they're arrogant because they came into our community trying to sell us candy, while to us, unfortunately, is poison because you're not taking into consideration who we are. I'm a Hispanic person, but I talk in behalf of everyone behind me. Yes. Every culture behind me I speak of. It's not about, racial identity. It's about who we are. Look around us. We are large families. And our families don't go away. We just incorporate and we keep on adding because this is what each and every one of our cultures share. We include. This is why our communities have been so rich because we include. I don't know how they want to establish inclusiveness when they're breaking it down, where they don't know the definition, where they don't even see that it's in front of their faces. I'm sorry, but I do stand by my statement.
I appreciate the honesty. Reem, I'm going to come to you because I'm conscious of time. You mentioned in your opening remarks that the approach by Homes Victoria has been coercive. Have members of your community felt pressured or misled by Homes Victoria during the relocation process? And if they did, can you share some examples for the committee?
Yes, to pressured. Examples would be sometimes they'd offer a house and before even allowing them to look at it, they'd say, you need to accept it before we show you. Mm-hmm. They would not know where the suburb is, or they'll say it's somewhere around Craigieburn or Essendon. So some of them would be like, but we haven't seen the house, how can we accept it without even seeing it? Other examples are they may have rejected several offers because it just didn't meet their needs, but the relocations officers would be like, well, if you don't accept this offer, then we don't know what will happen next. So that's how it's been coercive, if that makes sense. It's not really like in your face or quite blunt, but it's quite subtle. even this idea of having this like deadline of 30th of September, because I live in 33 Alfred Street, like as soon as we got the letter, a lot of us kind of were scared and anxious. And that's where that coercion comes into play as well.
Did Homes Victoria do
Sorry,
anything
Ms.
to allay?
Braidwood, I'm sorry, we need to move on.
Okay.
Mrs.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. I want to be brief, given that we're running out of time. But I just can't help thinking that if the houses that you're living in and you're calling this is home for you, if they were in really run-down, bad condition, that you felt angry that you were being cheated by the government, wouldn't that be then the outcry? What are they doing? They need to give us something better. So what I'm hearing from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you don't feel that way. That you feel these are adequate homes, that they actually could be refurbished, that you actually think they could be repurposed, and you feel that this is somewhere you could stay. Can you clarify that? Because there was a little bit of, well, if it was bigger, if it was this, it was that, we might consider. Or if we had more consultation, we might consider. I'm just trying to clarify where that's going. Would you stay if it was refitted and repurposed, or if you had better consultation and was shown where you could go and it was better, would you be prepared to move?
May I answer?
Yes, sure.
I personally, I think they could be refurbished. Yep. I don't see the reason why demolish them. The fact is people are answering according to what is being demanded of them. No one's saying we can actually save these buildings. All right, then let's work together to build something. The way they're answering is by what they are giving to them. So yes, they can be refurbished. Yes, I'm personally more than happy to stay in my building. It's amazing, We are happy. Yes, we've made it our home.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that if you're given ultimatums, you're going to have to answer to those ultimatums. If you're given what they consider options, you're going to have to answer according to those options. Mm. No one has ever said, you can stay. No one has ever said, we can fix these buildings. The content and the context of it would have totally different. You have people in public housing that want to leave, 100%, for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I want to add on it. It's not long that been renovated and been modernized and been upgraded, the building. It's not even like 10 years or maybe 5-6 years, still was a renovation. And the one is finished, they are very elegant, new things going. So we're so happy that upgraded. So after you upgraded, not even 5 years or 3 years, you demolish it. What's that?
Doesn't make sense.
So you feel that this is a waste of government
100%.
Resources and money?
100%. And I'm not sure whether there's a huge confusion in your communities, but in our communities, we're still getting our certain places fixed. So people are thinking, hold on, we're fixing them, but yet they're going to destroy them.
Yeah.
So why don't we just fix them and let people... I'm not sure, and I'm guessing you guys know way more than I do, but there is a public housing list that is disgusting to get in. Huge.
Yes.
10, 15 years to get in. That means there's a great need behind that, right? So that means that why are we trying to break something that is efficient, that it works? Yes, it needs a little scrub. Yes, it needs a little wash, but it can be used. And that is at your end, not in ours.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Batchelor.
Thanks, Acting Chair, and thank you all for coming in today. Just on this point about, we've had evidence and submissions, I should say. This is our first day of hearings. We've had submissions that we could refurbish. And some of the proposals have proposed some pretty significant refurbishment and renovation works, not just sort of cosmetics, but some pretty substantial. Do you think that people would need to move out during large-scale renovation work?
Well, they have had before. For example, many years ago, 510, where I'm from, got demolished. They moved everybody to surrounding apartments. And everybody was able to have the option to come back or possibly seek other areas. And how
did that work? So when this was a process 10, 15 years ago?
Possibly.
Yeah, so people were moved out.
My son was 2, so that would have been about 12 years ago.
And they were moved out into alternative accommodation and then had the opportunity to come back?
Had the opportunity, but...
Did they all choose to come back?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I did.
From your observation as not directly affected, but someone else who observed this process, how did that go overall?
My experience was quite pleasant, but because I know how to speak and I know how to stand up for myself and I know how to demand and I know what my rights are.
Yeah.
My community, unfortunately, don't have the same benefits that I do. Okay, so this makes a big difference. When there's no education from your end or their end, and they're demanding, as she said, that you got to do this, you got to sign this, you got to, there's a push, people are going to fight it and they're going to go. I would like to educate you guys on that people are being asked to leave the centre of Melbourne, to go to Whoop Whoop, to go to Werribee, to go to places, where there's already issues, traffic issues, transport issues, education issues, medical issues. We are 15 minutes, I'm in Carlton, I'm 15-minute walk from the city, 15-minute walk from the hospital, 15-minute walks from wherever. That's my life, thank Jesus, right? That's just my privilege. But there are people that have come from that not being educated, that when they move to these new places, not only will they pay what they never paid before, which is water or different amenities, but they will also have to face transport issues. Or all the other things that come across. Many of us don't drive because we've lived in central places. So when there's lack of education, there's going to be an issue. And Homes Victoria are not educating people precisely.
So what could they do better so that we can make some recommendations about the way that Homes Victoria could improve their processes? What do you think? Rem, you're going through this at the moment in 33 Alfred. What could Homes Victoria do better in the future to improve some of the things that you think have been deficient in the current process?
I think it's common sense, like talk to us like we're human beings.
Yep.
Provide the translations of the materials. I mean, just as recently when they decided to start testing in 33 Alfred Street, I was one of the floors that they announced that they were going to test on. That was done without our consultation. And it was done with, and we were kind of scared. We're like, well, what about we're exposed to silica or exposed to asbestos as a result of the testing? Those were real fears we all had. I have family members who are immunocompromised. We've got neighbours who are getting cancer treatment, kids who have asthma, and that was a real fear we had. But that was done without our consultation until we had to sort of advocate and stand up for ourselves that they step back. And it's exhausting having to do that consistently.
So you'd have an issue if they were doing floor renovations, I suspect.
Sorry, repeat that again?
Well, just if they were doing the renovation, there's been proposals to do floor by floor renovation.
No, not really the renovations itself. We've had renovations before, but the way they were coming in with hazmat suits and high-vis, that terrified us. That's why.
Without any education.
Without really consulting with us.
And what would have helped?
Sorry, Mr. Batchelor, your time is up. Mr. Puglielli.
Thank you. The plans that the government has for the towers, just to the whole panel, who do you think stands to benefit the most from those plans? Is it the residents?
The government.
No.
Not the residents. Are you?
Sorry, can you just repeat that? I couldn't hear.
Sorry, did you just say who's going to benefit from it?
Yeah, the most. Who's going to benefit the most?
None of us.
Property
No
developers?
residents. Property developments, the government itself, but not the people.
And really privileged people.
100%. I'm sorry, from from our perspective, you're trying to remodelize Melbourne, kick out the minority and remodelize it to your convenience, to maintain. This is what it looks like, and I know I'm not the only one seeing it. Do you understand? And this is not what Victoria or Australia is about. We're full of inclusiveness, and we're migrants. So this is benefit for any of us? No.
And
sorry, please jump.
Sorry, and these places, growing up, I grew up in North Melbourne and Flemington, were not seen as safe. We made it safe.
100%.
And now are becoming gentrified, so the government and property developers are seeing it as a cash grab, these are really profitable lands. But these are our homes, and I can't imagine myself living elsewhere.
100%. 100%. Why would we be stripped of what we've worked so hard for?
So when government speaks to these plans that it is in residents' interests, how does that make you feel?
It's a lie. It makes me just realise that we've never been included. For me, I can't speak for them, but for me, we've never been included. You know, they speak for us. They do actions on our behalf, never ever once including us. Do you understand? Our buildings are from the 60s. We're in 2025 and we're still not being included. I do not comprehend that. You know, the closing of COVID in Flemington, I mean, if nobody got angry about that and seeing the injustice that was behind it, what the government did to save the majority, what was that about? What happens to us? Being marginalised as a minority in this country is extremely hard to shake off, and it unfortunately is attached to being from a different race. And the majority, when I look at this panel, we're all multicultural. So I'm sure every one of you had to really shake it off and work extremely hard to fight for your position. But when you're from public housing, you don't get that benefit as easily. And we're raising our children not to have that mentality. Our children do not have the mentality that they're poor or they're inferior or they're a minority. They just live. And being blessed in the place that we actually are in the centre of Melbourne, hell, it makes us feel better. It makes us feel included, even though I tell you that the government does not include us. That's from my perspective. I'm not sure about you,
Yes.
but that's from my perspective.
When they knocked out because it's old or it's not good, it's not safe, they didn't give us consultation. What kind of building what we need to move? They just already build something and then just go there. And then it's worse. It's not for better. And no consultation, as my sister, she said. And didn't take our opinion. And our children, they used to play around very wide space. That space no more. And a lot of things taken, not given. And it's first things, it's not public housing as well. So it's a lot of bombing, shocking news. When you move someone from his own house, at least give it offer what they want, what's the better, not to the worst.
Thank you, Mr. Pulgelli. I note that Mr. Talamas has waived his speaking slot, which brings us right to a close. Thank you very much to our panel for your time today. We appreciate your input very much. That brings this to a close. All hands on equipment can be turned off.